Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Strong Girl Gossip podcast, episode number 2.
I'm buzzing.
I'm
So
so
we're going to
excited.
be talking about the importance of strength training for women and why it's so important to make it a part of your routine sustainably.
So this podcast episode is for you if you are maybe not even started your strength training journey yet, or maybe you have and you just need a bit of motivation to why you should keep going. We all need an incentive. It doesn't matter what you are doing. You need to know what's in it for you. You need to know what the benefits are so you can keep going for the long run. So that's what we're here to tell you about today.
100%. I think it's super important with anything you do, to be honest, just to have like a why. Otherwise, you'll just be like, oh, is strength training the right thing for me? Do I even want to go to the gym today? When you're not 100% sure on why you should be doing something or what the benefits are or what it's going to give you, it just creates inconsistency. And doing anything half-hearted, especially strength training, you're just not going to get the benefits out of it, which we are going to go into today.
It can be so easy, can't it, to just like stop something. But when you've got that reason to be like, oh, like this is important, it's going to just keep you so much more motivated. So we've got a few points to go through. We'll try and keep it nice and short and sweet. These episodes, we do want to keep them short and sweet to keep your attention span there, and to keep them fun. But we've also got a lot of goss to unpack. So take it away, Ella. What are we going to talk about first?
Right, well, we're going to be talking about the movement patterns that we go through in strength training and how it can kind of relate to your normal life. So we call it like functional training. So think about like sitting down on a toilet and squatting. It's the same thing, you know? Like it may not be glam, but at the end of the day, everything we do in the gym, especially with strength training, is going to relate to something we do in real life, which is just going to make real life easier, especially as you get older as well.
Like the development of those necessary movement patterns are so necessary. Like you say, anything you carry in your shopping bags, you think of a farmer's carry. You squat, you think about sitting on the toilet. You deadlift, you think about picking up something from the floor. Your overhead press, you putting something else on your shelf. Like everything has got a reason, and that is what I love so much about strength training. It's purposeful, like it's functional, and it's all designed, if done correctly, and you choosing those right exercises to serve like a bigger purpose. Like we are here, like Ella said, to make your life easier. Strength training is to make your life easier.
Yeah. I actually had a client who has just come back from Glasgow, and she was like, yeah, my boyfriend was like, you never would have been able to carry your bag around Glasgow before you started the gym.
Literally love that.
Literally training for life, training for Glasgow.
Oh my god! And that actually, that just reminded me of a client conversation I actually had a few weeks ago about being able, getting strong to carry the Zara shopping bags when she goes on a shopping spree. I'm like, yeah, I literally loved that. I was like, screenshot, save. That is such a good point. This is why we train, to carry a Zara shopping bags, to carry a kit around Glasgow or whatever it is. That's your thing. It's functional. We want to build that strength. So you can do all of those things, not necessarily easily, but easilier. Is that a real word?
Easilier.
Yeah. It is now a word, even if it wasn't before. So development of necessary movement patterns is literally probably one of the top reasons of the importance for strength training for anyone, not just for women. But if we go into a little bit further of like making life easier, the saying that I really like to go by is training for your old lady body. And
literally, I love
it. I love it so much. I just think it's just so true. And in the fitness industry, training, you hear summer body referred to a lot, right? And I just think like, let's scrap that. That should be scrapped. Let's train all for our old lady bodies. And all that basically means is you are literally getting your body prepped for as you get older to deal again with life so much easier.
100%. And actually it's going to keep you more sustainable as well on your fitness journey, your strength training, because you're not just going in and being like, oh my God, I've got my holiday in July, I want to like be paying for that. It's like, well, no, like this is like a whole life thing. Like you don't just do it for a little bit then stop. Like especially because with women as well, we're so much more prone to things like osteoporosis, which is like when your bone density goes really low and you can break your bones super easily as we get older, whereas men aren't. So like men may show up to like be buff and like get massive biceps, but actually there's a deeper, like you said, Jess, like there's a deeper reason for women
Yeah.
needing
No,
to
you are literally
strength
so
train.
right, but I just love your vocabulary. It makes me laugh so much. I'm like, pang, buff. People are listening and are like, yeah, love it. I'm gonna start.
Honestly, we're lucky that I haven't like shortened my words yet. I'm so bad at that.
No, but you are literally going, obviously, back to the importance of the messaging you just said. It's super important. And I think even now, like seeing people around me, like getting older, my nan, or, you know, even like my mum to a certain extent, like just those people that you love around you, and you can see them maybe starting to struggle in areas like that. And, you know, complaining of aches and pains and all of these things, which is, of course, normal. And you're not going to ever be able to completely, you know, prevent that completely. But if you can reduce the risk of, you know, having to deal with those things as you get older, then again, life's going to feel easier. You can be more strong, independent, like for yourself for longer, which I think is like ultimately the goal, right? Like who doesn't
For
want
sure.
people to carry their shopping bags home, like mid into deep into 70s and 80s without having to ask for help or ring a taxi to take them home? Because like my stubborn personality needs that. I need to be able to be as independent as I can for as long as possible. And that's exactly why we do it. That's why we train.
Yeah, literally. And like I was actually saying this the other day. I like look at like I'm lucky I've got both my nans still, but like don't get me wrong, they're getting on as much as they hate me saying that. But like I'm super interested because they never did any strength training or anything like that because like back in the day it was like arm exercises on the sofa.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm super interested, like if I'm lucky enough to get to that age, what the difference would be like
Yeah.
in
So,
our mobility
yeah.
and like the way that we move, the strength. Like I don't
Maybe
know.
the things
I
that
just
you're still doing, like, because of course, as you get older, like the things that you can do, you're limited to. Like, you're limited to be able to just go out. Even the small things we take for granted, like taking yourself around to the shop and things, obviously becomes difficult. So, like you say, it's going to be so eye opening to see, like, where will we be? Because like we're putting in the work now, but honestly, like, you know, looking at the facts as well, like this is like starting strength training is going to help with that. It's going to set you up for as much success as possible. Now, obviously, things get thrown at you left, right, and center in life, and you cannot control that. But you know, control the controllables. You can control like trying to make yourself as strong as possible, not just physically, but also mentally as well. So yeah, I think for that reason, and going back to leaving that point on training for your old lady body and mind and life and lifestyle, if you like use that as your motive, because that's why we get up and train every day. I want to honestly be able to do all the things that I love to do for as long as possible. I don't want to have to stop because, you know, because of my age and because of, like you say, my mobility and maybe things restricting me. And one day that obviously might happen, but for as long as possible, I want to be in control.
And you are in control. You're doing well.
Yes.
And going back to like what you said about mindset as well, like I like without doubt since strength training, and we touched on this in the intro episode, but like I would say the biggest benefit is mental strength and confidence and just like being like, oh, I know that I can do this in the gym, and it just translates to being outgoing and kind of like knowing that you have the strength to do things outside of the gym.
No,
or even if it's physical, just being like,
absolutely.
yeah, I can lift that
We
bag.
are going to do a whole podcast episode on this topic, guys, because it needs to be spoken about, and like mine and Ella's journey and like what like strength training has done for us, like in our personal lives. But you are literally so right. Like coming back to what we said in episode 1, like the self-belief and self-confidence that strength training provides you with. I just feel like all women need a dose of that. Like you need that in your life. Like you say, if you go up to a lift and you think, I can't lift that, and then you do that and you do lift it, it just gives you that instant kick and that confidence to go, I did it. Like, I can do it. And then, like you say, that just transfers over to every other area of your life, personal, career, anything that gets thrown your way. You go, well, I'll give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? Oh, I did it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, for me, like, it's up there with obviously so many other reasons why it's so important, but that is just my favourite, because I know for me, like speaking from a personal point of view, it's done me the world of good. And I just know that like we wouldn't even be sat here talking today. I would not have the confidence to sit and talk to a screen right now if it wasn't for building up like that resilience and confidence in my training.
100%. Okay, well, we've covered mindset, we've covered your old lady body, but I just think there's like such a missed point on strength training in that like building muscle is so often for women something to be feared, but like you don't realize, or if you haven't started strength training yet, maybe you haven't realized that your kind of like goal body in quotation marks is the result of building muscle. Like, don't get me wrong, me and Jess as performance coaches always first, always strength coaches. But like we said earlier, you want to feel good in your bikini on holiday. And I think sometimes that will make you resort to these like quick fix methods and things like that and wanting to be quote unquote toned, when actually we don't realize that that look of being toned is from strength training, is from changing your body composition, is from lowering your body fat percentage and higher your muscle mass.
Mm-hmm. Literally.
So
I think most people's, and I quote it like with bunny ears, because like dream body is like, what even does that mean these days? Again,
exactly.
That could be a whole podcast episode. That let us know if you want to see that, and we can definitely rant on that. But like it's not. It's all coming from like you really say that you want to build muscle. Like you want to be toned, you want to be lean, you want to build muscle, you want to be strong. That is what you are saying. And that, requires consistent strength training and, not just dibbling into it here and there. It requires consistency. It requires you to do it and repetition and to keep doing it, to build that muscle. But building muscle mass is one of the importance of strength training, not just for like the way that it looks. Obviously it looks great. I see women with muscle and I think you look amazing. And there's obviously a big misconception around looking bulky and gaining too much muscle quickly. So I think, again, as much as that could be its own episode, just touching on that briefly, you are not just going to lift a weight and just turn it into this muscular person. Like, trust me, like I wish that would happen. I wish it was that easy to just get buff, as Ella would say. But it's not that easy. It requires so much hard work and you'd have to be really well thought out to be able to gain that amount of muscle that quickly. Have to be really like, you'd have to want to do it. Like it would have to be, it would require basically a lot. So a lot of thought. You're not going to accidentally just gain a lot of unwanted muscle. So one of the benefits really is gaining muscle mass and changing your body composition so you do feel confident in your own skin.
100%. And it's like, I've been there. I've been that person who's been like, oh, well, I don't want to put that over my head because I don't want to get bulky shoulders.
Yeah.
But honestly, you don't realize how much you're holding yourself back until you actually look back and you're like, why did I think that?
Yeah.
And I think that can be such a barrier to entry.
Mm-hmm.
You see like in magazines like of the past or like on Instagram, whatever it might be, toning workout or like, whatever. But it's just like at the end of the day, all you need to do is build some muscle.
Yeah.
Which is the real benefit of strength training.
Again, like this is such a passionate topic, but us trying not to go off the whole podcast topic, which is the importance of strength training. We'll try not riff too much off on it, but hopefully you guys understood that point was like the importance to build muscle mass so you feel strong but also feel confident. That all does come from starting strength training, building muscle, and then eventually over time, because good things take time. If only like more people could understand that, like building the body that you want and feeling confident in your own skin does just take time. Like that is going to be a huge benefit for you starting strength training, body composition.
For sure.
So
any others you want to?
So things like injuries, obviously this again would be a whole different topic, but we're talking about people that maybe do certain sports. Maybe they run, maybe they do, I don't know, netball, whatever it is.
Running is a massive thing.
It is.
Especially at the moment. And I'm like, how many of you are doing your strength training?
Yeah, because it's okay doing these sports, but you want to be able to make sure that like your body can deal with the impact from those sports. So strength training, having like a baseline of strength, if you like, is just going to be so beneficial for any sport that you are doing. It's going to complement it really nicely. It might not be your priority, but it's still got its place.
Exactly. Like, it may not be your main thing, but like, for example, I trained as a dancer and my sister is currently training as a dancer. And I'm like, you could be so much better, or you could avoid this lower back injury if you just got a bit of power through your legs or whatever it might be that's specific to your sport. And I think running is a massive one, because running is great because it gets people into sport, or it gets people into exercise quite, like, you know, it doesn't cost anything. You don't have to have a gym membership. You don't really need to. A lot of people have a coach or learn how to do it properly. You just go out the door and run if you can. But it's like, actually, it's going to be so supported by strength training and doing certain exercises that are going to improve your area of that sport, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, massively. And I see this a lot. Like, I definitely see this a lot. But even with my partner at the moment, like, he plays football and he's got injuries. And I'll say every time, I try not to say I told you so, but he ends up injured like after, you know, every match or whatever, because it's just doing the sport. And it's like, if you was to strengthen those muscles around, you know, it's isn't easy, as most of the problems with. So it's like, if you strengthen up your hamstrings, strengthen up your quads, like, you're going to really reduce that risk of injury, and it's not going to then impact your sport. So if you are someone that is maybe, you know, you do dibble into different sports at the moment, maybe strength training isn't something that you are currently doing or you've not been interested in, just know that, like, it doesn't have to be your main priority. It's just so important. It's just so important that you do think about adding it into your routine. And maybe that's only once a week. Maybe that's only for a 20-minute session. It doesn't matter. It's just about, you know, prioritizing and putting it in there, because it's going to do you more good than
100%. And even if you don't, you know, do a sport, as I imagine most of the people listening to this will not.
Yeah.
Like, you have to think about how it's going to make you feel in, kind of, to wrap this all up, in other areas of your life. Like, you know, your friends might be playing rounders and actually, oh, I want to join in rounders in the park because now I feel fit, now I feel strong. And like, it's just those small things that it is going to make a difference with, that, like, you know, rounders is your sport maybe.
Yeah.
But like, it is just going to translate into different areas and make you just say yes to more things because you feel like you have the confidence and the fitness and the strength to do it.
I think that's a really big one. Saying more things, like, it really does. It's not just about lifting a weight or throwing a barbell above your head. And, you know, as much as that looks cool, and I love it because, like you say, it's cool to be strong. It's really cool to be strong. It really is. And I think, you know, the mentality of so many women is changing. We are all kind of like, as a generation, if you like, shifting from that mentality of, I want to be smaller, I want to lose weight, to, I want to be strong and I want to be able to do really cool things. And I think that's amazing. But it's just like, to kind of like wrap up, it's, you want to improve your quality of life. You want to improve your mental health. You want to improve your physical health. You want to be able to show up as the best version of you. And you want to be able to do all your favorite things and be fit, strong and healthy for as long as possible. And that's exactly what strength training can provide you with. So I feel like that's a good end point. What do you think?
I think so too. And look, like, yes, you're just listening to this podcast because maybe you don't know where to start. But in the coming episodes, we're going to give you those tools to be able to make a really good start on, hopefully, a really, like, lifelong strength training journey.
Yeah, enjoyable journey, which is exactly what it should be. We didn't even touch on that, but very, very quickly, like, the importance of just having something that's fun, that you enjoy, and that is your thing. Like, when I go into that gym or when I pick that barbell up, like, I'm only thinking of that. And like, for me, like, that's everything. That's so important because that's my time. And it's, again, enjoyment. Like, it's fun. And if you allow it to be fun, you can make it a hobby. Like, I know when you first start out, it can be overwhelming. It can be confusing. It can be really daunting. But once you push past those barriers, like, I promise, like, there is fun there. It can be so much fun, and just challenging yourself and be able to lift a little bit more here and there, and, you know, doing things you never thought you could. Like, it's really good, and it's those feelings that I think every woman deserves to feel. Like, you all deserve to feel confident. You all deserve to experience strength training, in my opinion.
100%.
Obviously, we're going to be biased because this is what we specialize in. We're going to be biased. But yeah, there's so many good episodes coming your way, guys. This is only episode 2. And bear with us. Like I say, we are still learning. But if there's anything that you do want to see, make sure you do drop it in the comments below. And make sure you go follow us over on Instagram, which we'll leave our handles below. But thank you so much. Ella, do you want to wrap up and say anything, or are we all good?
I just want to say, start strength training. Right, guys, we will see you in our next episode. Thank you so much for listening.
Yes. See you later.
See you later.